Holy shit, guys, we have so many updates this week, and I cannot wait to share all of them with you. Stay tuned for this week's weekly breakdown coming right up. All right, guys, a lot of the updates this week are going to be in labs, and so I want to remind you again of the labs feature that should live. If you guys are a client of Empowers, then it's going to live in the settings section of every single one of your guys' HighLevel account. If you're not a client of Empowers, if you have your own agency, then you should be able to enable beta features at the company level, which will then give your sub account access to labs. And if you don't have access to that and you're under somebody else's agency, it's time to sign up for Empower LO, get a new agency. We will hook you up. Labs features, the features that we're going to go over today are so sick, and to think that you'd be watching this video and not have access to the features after watching it, it hurts me. It hurts me personally, so I want to make sure that you guys get access. Sign up for Empower LO, sign up for an agency that's going to give you access to those features. Let's get started. The first update that I want to go over with you guys is sticky filters to conversations. Filters have been a new way to interact with conversations. When you're inside of HighLevel, you have your conversation view that gives you the queue of all the messages that you need to respond to, right? Well, now you have the ability to filter by a lot of cool different means. You can filter and say, hey, only show me outbound text messages, or only show me conversations where the last message was an outbound text message from Alex, or only show me conversations where the last message was an inbound text message and the conversation was assigned to any of my sales reps, right? You can see the use cases for this when it comes to making sure that leads are not slipping through the cracks. Well, when you used this feature before, it used to be you had to say, you basically created your filter, and then if you navigated away from the conversations, the filter wiped away, and there was no way to be able to save that and no way to be able to come back to that super easily. You'd have to reset that filter every time you came back. Now the filters are sticky at the user level. So as you're in there in conversations, you create the filter. If you navigate away from the page, you come back to the page later, come back to conversations later, your filters will still live there. So use this function. I'm going to go ahead and show you, actually. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to show you what filters look like, and I'm going to show you how to take advantage of the new sticky filter feature of conversations. All right, so you can see here I am in conversations and I am on the all tab. The filters apply as like a secondary filter after the tab. So if you have your filter set up but you're on unread, if it's not an unread conversation, it's not going to show up in your thread. But if you go all the way over to all, and then you come over here and you set your filters. So what I set my filters, as I described, I want all my conversations where my last message was a manual outbound message via text message, right? So basically I'm saying, show me all the people that are ghosting me. Show me all the people that have not responded to my last message, or not mine in this case, but in this case I chose one of our sales reps and put in here. And now I can apply this and I can see, okay, there's 26 conversations that Alex has sitting in here where the last message that we sent was an outbound text message. There might be some people that ghosted him in there. There might be some opportunities for some sales in there. Pretty cool feature. We're really excited about. We'll definitely be using it. Again, what makes this cool now is the fact that these filters are saved so that you don't have to come back to this and reset those filters every single time. So now if I go over to products or calendars, contacts, whatever it is, if I come back to conversations, those filters are saved. Really cool. All right, next up we have a couple updates to calendars. Now, again, this is a labs feature. You have to have the Neo calendar UI enabled in labs. You'll see it. Again, my recommendation is just go in, enable all the labs features until you see me on a video and I say, hey, this lab feature sucks. It's ruining everything. Don't do it. I would just get in the habit of anytime you see this and you hear me talk about a new labs feature, just go in, enable all the labs features that you see that are not enabled. That said, make sure that this feature is enabled, but once it is, you now have the ability to do just a couple really cool things with calendars from a UI standpoint, from a interaction with the customer that makes it look really pretty polished and dialed in. So I'm going to take you in again, take you into the account and just show you kind of what it is that I'm talking about here. Okay, so within calendars, there's a couple new updates that I want to show you. First off, we've always had groups. We've always had calendars. Calendars got a facelift in the last, I don't know, a month or two to the Neo design, where you have the ability to choose a new design, a like more aesthetically pleasing design than the classic design, they call it. So in order to see this, if I go into my calendar, for example, podcast recording, this is where we see calendar widget style. We see classic or Neo. So I'll show you I'll show you a Neo one, and then I'll also show you a classic one. If we go in, I think our strategy call right here is a classic. Let's go down here. Yes, it is in fact classic. So if we go into here, actually, you know what? That one had some custom code. So we'll go into Alex's really quick. Let's see, Neo. Let's choose this to classic. Let's save, and I'm gonna get this link, and we're gonna paste it in here. All right, here's classic, side by side. Neo looks like this. Okay, so just the calendar itself, this is what classic versus Neo looks like. So that's classic, this is Neo. Replay it as many times as you need to. I'm not going to spend too much time on this to be able to see the differences there. What they did, this was a month or two ago. It's live in labs. What they did and what they just announced is they did the same thing basically for groups. So now groups, if you don't know how groups work, you can put all of your you can put as many calendars as you want to into a group and then send a link to that group, that calendar group, and now somebody has the ability to book potentially multiple different options on one page. So let me show you what this looks like. So if we go, oops, that was not the right one. So if we go in here, oh, see, I exited out of it. All right, we'll get this. Ready, groups. We're gonna go to Michael's calendar. Okay, in groups, now we have this Neo is what they're calling it, the Neo interface. So now there's prettier interface than the groups looked like before. You saw a spot to upload an image. That spot to upload an image from within your calendar basically assigns it a image on a group page. So if you come in here, I'll show you which one I'm talking about. If I come into calendars and I look at, let's see, it's this podcast recording one, right? So edit in here. If I go to customization, I have this calendar cover image. The uploaded image will be visible within the group view for Neo template. So if you come in here and you're trying to upload an image that's supposed to be associated with your calendar, but you're not sharing your group link, you're only sharing the individual calendar link, it's going to do nothing. The only thing that this spot to upload an image does is it creates a little tile when you go to your calendar group like this. So I haven't done it with any of my other ones here, but you can see the one that I did, you see what the tile looks like. It's a square image. I didn't put a square image in there. Again, this is all just to demonstrate the new features. So again, group calendars now have a facelift. They look way better. The next feature that I want to show you with calendars, the next update is one specifically to the class booking option. So if we come in here, we create a calendar, only this one, only this class booking. Contacts can schedule a meeting with a single person on your team, and you can define the number of slots that are available for that calendar, and then they only have the ability to fill that number of spots. Well, now your audience has the ability to see how many seats are available. So you're limiting the number of seats that are available in each class, but now you're also saying, hey, there's only 50, again, this is an example one test class, so there's 50 seats, nobody's actually registered, but as more and more people register, that number will go down, 49, 48, 47. You can see how that would be advantageous if you're running a class with limited availability and you're trying to get people to come in, provide a sense of urgency, a sense of scarcity. Super cool feature for calendars this week. All right, next up, a quick update, the AI bot piece. Now this is still in beta. I believe we can access it. We haven't enabled it at the agency level yet. We just have had a lot of other stuff going on, so we're not playing with this a ton. However, a huge update was released this week that makes it way more likely that we're going to be jumping in soon, which is now you have the ability to train the AI bot, okay? So the AI bot, again, it started as just a booking tool. Well, then you could expand it and you could tell it what your goal for the bot was. Well, now you can go even further, like some of the other chat bots out there on the market, like bigger, support-based chatbots, etc., you now can train the bot. You can give them links to scrape or to spider crawl across and learn as much as they can. You can give them PDF documents and say, hey, read this, right? So now you have the ability to train that AI bot, which is going to come in handy. I'm sure somebody's going to do something with this around mortgage guidelines, right? If somebody's interested in doing that and wants to partner up, I'd be super interested in talking to somebody about seeing how HighLevel's bot could handle mortgage guidelines. But mortgage guidelines, obviously, like some basic ISA type stuff, as well as somebody like processes, right? Internal processes. Somebody hits you up for a loan status update. You could have a specific phone number that is linked to this bot, and you teach that bot all of your guys' processes, procedures, etc. Obviously, we're talking big picture, really big picture type of stuff, but all of that is going to be possible inside of your HighLevel accounts coming soon. All right, next up, another really, really cool, exciting feature, only available to you if you have Labs enabled. So you will not see this if this is not enabled within Labs. Again, not to beat a dead horse, but you gotta have this enabled in Labs. I just don't want to hear you come back and say, hey, this feature isn't live in my account. Document management at the contact level. This is really cool. Obviously, this could be abused. This could be a potential compliance headache, nightmare for companies if their LOs are not being responsible about this. It's document management. You now have the ability to upload documents and associate them with a contact in your CRM, and then be able to come back and access all of those contacts. So again, outside of doing, you don't want to be doing stuff like credit reports, but maybe a paste. I don't know. Like I don't want to advocate anything, because you guys all have either your own compliance department or your own compliance consultants, whatever it is. However it is that you want to handle this, guys, HighLevel is HIPAA compliant, or at least has the ability to be HIPAA compliant with an additional layer on top of it. It meets a lot of other security standards, but before the HIPAA compliance level. I'm not personally worried about it, but again, I'm not an attorney. I'm not your compliance officer. So use this with discretion, but there's also a lot of other things that we could do that maybe have nothing to do with the actual loan qualification as far as uploading documents go. All right, I'm gonna dive in and show you really quick what the document management feature looks like if you have it enabled in Labs. All right, inside of here, I have a contact. Obviously, my contact details are blurred as usual, but basically where you had activity, task, notes, and appointment on the right-hand side, you now have an additional tab called Documents. So if I come in here, I should be able to see any documents that I have. I should be able to when I send documents, this says coming soon. So apparently I can't do it yet, but this is a really cool feature coming. As far as this goes though, I can go add new file. It goes into the internal section. Why? Because I'm just uploading it directly. It's not one that I sent to them. It's not one that I received from them. But I can come in here. This ends up being a pretty big file, huh? We'll go here. All right, so we can upload this CSV file. Maybe it's a proposal, maybe it's a pre-qual, maybe it's a rate quote, right? Really good way to keep track of that kind of stuff. Let me see, did it go? There we go, there it is, internal. So now I have the ability to come in here, download that file. Like I said, really cool to be able to associate documents to these individual contacts. I see this being really valuable to loan officers going forward. All right, next up, a minor update that might not affect a lot of you guys, depending on whether you have a custom dashboard set up in your HighLevel account. We will have our own custom dashboard that to where this will become kind of obsolete. Maybe we'll make it optional, I'm not sure. But we have a lot of really valuable content that we could share with our users that they don't get access to without us putting it front and center. And so that's how we plan on using the dashboard. However, if you are on your own HighLevel instance, this is a really cool update, because the original dashboard, the dashboard that's been the dashboard since OG days of HighLevel, is freaking awful. It's useless, it's ugly. I've wanted it gone since the day that it came out. Well, now we have something that at the very least, if you're logging into HighLevel, it doesn't hurt your eyes when you look at it. A lot more valuable information, honestly. Let's take a look. All right, this is what the new dashboard looks like. Again, more, some of the information is the same. Tasks was on the old one. Manual actions here, this was on the old one. But your stage distribution, your funnel distribution, just a nicer, a better aesthetic versus the hard lines and colors that existed in the funnel previous. You also have a lead source report, Google Analytics report. Google Business Profile Report, all this stuff right here on the dashboard, and you can filter by users. So again, much more useful than it used to be. I imagine if this is something that they're providing attention to going forward, I imagine it's going to continue to get more and more useful, and maybe eventually we end up tapping back into it. But again, for now, I still think that we can come up with something better for our users, and so we plan on doing so. All right, the next update that I have is a really exciting update, one that we didn't see coming, one that I didn't even know was on the radar, but we're really excited about it internally, and I'm hoping that we have some customers that are excited about using it as well. This is related to video marketing. Essentially what this is now that you have the ability to host videos inside of HighLevel that you put on either funnels or websites, or put in either funnels or websites. Well, now with those videos, you have the ability to stop the video at a certain point, at a certain timestamp within the video, and require that the person watching it fills out a lead form in order to continue, in order to watch the rest of the video. So you can see how this could potentially be massive if done the right way, for lead generation, for getting somebody to engage beyond lead generation, right? Maybe you have a massive database of leads and you're sending out content every month or every week, content that is, some is on non-QM, some is on first-time home buyers, etc. And every time you send it out, you're sending them to a page that has a video hosted, and you're going to let them watch 50% of the video, 70% of the video, but you're going to require that they fill out the form in order to watch the last 30%. What does that do for you? Well, now you have the ability to identify the people that are actually engaging with your content. Not only that, actually engaging with your content, and then telling you which content that they're engaging with, so that if you set that up correctly, again, separate non-QM, first-time home buyer, things that are broad enough in different categories that somebody inquiring about non-QM, somebody who wants to see the rest of your 10-minute video about non-QM loans, is probably somebody that's potentially an investor or somebody that's self-employed, somebody that's looking for a non-QM solution. So again, you'd have to get creative with this. This is not something that's going to be a magic bullet for you right out of the gates, but we're excited to see what the development of, and with our team internally, as well as with loan officers that we work with, what the development of this feature is over time and how we end up using it. All right, last couple updates for you guys. The first one is we now have the beginning of dynamic elements inside of emails. And the first way that they're doing this is with a frequently asked questions section inside of emails. So if you've been on a modern website that has a frequently asked questions section, a lot of the times those frequently asked questions are collapsible, right? So you have the question and then you have a plus button. When you press plus, it opens up, right? So now you have the ability to send something like that inside of an email. Now, not all email builders or all email platforms are going to support this, but the good news is if it doesn't support it, then they just basically unfold the accordion and you essentially just have a list of questions and answers. So there's not a lot of downside to including a feature like this, especially if you have content that makes sense in that question and answer format. So again, for the context of our loan officers, think commonly asked questions when it comes to buying a home. You give them now this accordion style format where they can open and close the ones that are pertinent to them, and you can include a lot more information in that email and position yourself even more as an expert with them. All right, last up is something that probably isn't going to affect you guys for a while, but I want to give you a preview because I didn't last week when it only affected agencies, but now it's starting to come down to the sub-account level as well. And this is marketplace apps or HighLevel's app marketplace. Guys, this is going to blow the lid off of the potential of HighLevel, because what HighLevel has now done is they've opened an app marketplace to third-party developers and are asking them, hey, build your apps, we'll market them for you, we'll put them in our app marketplace. Well, now at the agency level, I can define apps that I want to share with my sub-accounts, and the sub-accounts can go in and they can choose to enable or disable those apps as well. So apps, an example that I want to use here, I've been talking a lot to Rebel IQ, to Andrew over at Rebel IQ. Shout out if you're watching this. I've been talking to him a lot. We've been talking about their integration, Rebel's integration with HighLevel, which by the way is super sick and is about to take a whole nother step up. But with this, what we've been talking about is, okay, how can we make sure that more people know about this? Well, it's easy now. That third-party app marketplace is going to allow somebody like a Rebel IQ to create an app where you install the app, you put in your API information from Rebel's server, right? From your Rebel IQ account, you put in your API information, and boom, you configure your sync where you say this field, or this field, these form fields match these right here, and anytime somebody fills out a Rebel form on your site or on your landing page or whatever, now they're automatically getting added into HighLevel. Again, this is just one example. It's a really simple example, but the point is the possibilities with this are going to be endless. We don't know it yet. You guys haven't seen it yet, but if you've used Zoho before, or you've used other tools that have an app marketplace, even QuickBooks has an app marketplace, it really opens the doors for what's possible and what other kind of integrations are supported. So we're really excited to see this. Again, probably not going to affect you for a little bit because they've got to build out that app marketplace. I think there's like 25 apps in there, and none of them really seem that appealing to me. But we will see this become a much bigger part of your guys' HighLevel accounts going forward, and we're really excited to share it with you. All right, guys, was I lying or was I lying? I wasn't lying, right? This was a crazy week of updates. I want to make sure that you guys go back and watch this as many times as you need to get this stuff, because it's not often that I pack as much as I did into one video and feel as strongly as I do about everything that I shared with you guys. So make sure that you go back, rewatch, ask questions about features that look interesting to you, but I didn't do a good enough job of explaining it for you to run with it. Please ask questions. Jump on next week's Zoom room, guys. Last week's Zoom room, or this week's Zoom room, was so sick. We had a lot of people join. We're starting to get people from my agent classes that are using HighLevel coming on and jumping on the calls as well. So what that means is less floor time for you, the more and more people start showing up. So that means if you have questions and you have stuff that we can be doing to help you configure and get your HighLevel account off the ground, show up. Start showing up now before it's too late and we've got too many people on these calls to help everybody, and then it becomes kind of a lottery situation. So show up Tuesday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. The link will be inside the group. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you at the top.